Yeah, so we are all thinking about it, or thinking it. How is it gonna work?
Way so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Yes, friends, what's poppin'? Welcome back to the channel Football Therapy avec moi, your host Jan. I do hope you're doing well, mate. I really, genuinely, wholeheartedly do hope that. Welcome back to the channel in Chelsea news-ish. We are going to speak about a lineup or how, as things stand, Chelsea could line up with Enzo Maresca, maybe pre-season or the beginning of the Premier League. Early doors, of course, subject to change because not even all the players are back for pre-season yet. We don't know how certain players are going to perform in certain roles. And you know what? I'll probably have to do this style of video again, maybe at the end of pre-season. And we can do some content here on the channel about actual more predictions of the whole season. Like we can do that thing where we predict top scorer, top assists, best young player, best player, final position, all that fun stuff. But I do want to, I've made a lineup, hashtag spoiler, I've made a lineup here, and I'm going to show you in a bit what I think could be the starting lineup for Enzo Maresca. And I'm really important to say here, in possession. So I've done the, when they go, it's a 4-3-3 Enzo Maresca system, but it turns into that 3-2-4-1 or whatever, I'm that box midfield. So that's the one I've made, disclaimer. A little bit of transfer news as well to get into. So yes, it's going to be a good one. Thank you as always for supporting me. I love the comments down in the comment section lately. Thanks for the support. You're welcome to subscribe if you want to, hit the bell if you choose to. And as always, I'm pretty sure liking the video still helps us YouTubers. So if you would be so kind to just tap like on the video. Alright mate, let's get into it. So a couple of transfer things and pieces of news first. First of all, shout out Esteban Willian getting all the hype he deserves. Another goal involvement, playing all the time for Palmeiras. The young Brazilian 17-year-old, only recently turned 17 as well, I believe. The world's watching him getting assists and match-winning assists and scoring golazos and goals. And Brazil should have called him up, even though he's a kid. If they can call Endrick up, who's high profile and a similar age, they will be very soon considering Esteban Willian. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because we've done it to death, but there is legitimate hype. You've got Neymar saying he's a genius. He's the one from Brazil. He's coming to Chelsea. He's done, the Cole Palmer celebration, and there is suitable and good hype. So yes, shout out Esteban. Romano has spoken about Nico Williams as well. Of course, he's playing in the Euros final, which me as an England fan, very frustrated about that. Him and Lamine Yamal probably going to tear us to pieces, but it's back-to-back Euro Championship finals is an achievement. I know that's loser talk from football fan, but it is an achievement. I would love to win it, but it's going to be very, very difficult. Nico Williams, of course, everyone's talking about Lamine Yamal because he's 16, turned 17 on the day of the final, I think, maybe. Whereas, of course, Nico Williams is of the super old age of 21. Romano is talking about him saying, look, Chelsea is still interested in Nico Williams, but they just will not pay the current conditions of the deal. I think Arsenal are the same. They are also interested in the player. Of course, Arsenal wanted Mykhailo Mudryk before we signed him, and then they ended up signing Trossard, who's a useful player, but I think he's about to turn 30, if not already has turned 30. He's certainly not one for the future. He turns 30 this winter. Leandro Trossard, and he's good. He's been good for Arsenal, but look, he's not like Galactico, is he? He's nowhere near Nico Williams. So I don't know how they're feeling about Martinelli, but obviously Saka on the right. They're trying to find someone who can be of that level on the left. So I get them looking at Nico Williams. Although they paid Saka like 300k a week, so they're definitely paying him the money that Nico Williams would want. I think Nico Williams would want like 250. Chelsea won't pay that, and seemingly at the moment Arsenal won't pay that, but clubs are still interested. I do wonder if he will just end up going to Barcelona, but we will see what happens with that. And we will, of course, keep an eye up on wingers. And there's another winger to talk about. Francisco Conceição, of course, the Portugal young winger, the 21-year-old, of course, the son of Sergi Conceição, the Porto manager. Obviously plays for his old man at Porto. So yes, he is a winger. He can play. His main position is right winger. We got a lot of those, but I can't speak. He also plays on the left. He suits the age profile. He's 21. He's a great player, but he's yet another left footer. Now, many of you might be thinking, yeah, it doesn't matter what foot you kick the ball with, and maybe to a degree that's true. No one moans when you have a team of right footers, but you might moan that you could do with at least one left footer for a different profile. But we've got a lot of left footers, a lot, and we got more coming as well in Paes and Esteval. Apparently his release clause is very affordable, so like between 20 and 25 million euros. And he's a good player, of course, played well for Portugal. He was like, when he was coming off the bench in the Euros, trying to set up Ronaldo, he was the one going up to Ronaldo going, chill out, mate, you'll be alright. You'll be alright, when Ronaldo was like moaning. Yeah, great young player, Francisco. He's one of those players that if you didn't pay that much money for and he joins and he does well, and great, but not one that gets everyone completely excited. The story's still very loosely linked, so I'm not going to look at, if it develops the story, as always, I'll pull up the stats on the screen and we can have a little gander together and look at his strengths and metrics and stuff. But for the moment, I'm going to sort of leave it on ice. But I just referenced to you the fact how he is being linked, and I think it's by record, that publication. So we will see what happens there and what develops from there. Let's talk about this lineup then. Alright, so preseason started in terms of training. We've seen videos of Maresca looking very intense, players doing some running, doing bleep tests, lots of work with the ball. I think, was it Tosin that was interviewed on the Chelsea media saying, yeah, essentially they are doing some running, but they're just working so much with the ball, which is kind of the opposite of Pochettino and indeed Conte. Conte did lots of intense fitness work, and then he did a lot of that shadow play, or whatever it's called, where you don't actually play with the ball, you will just stand in certain places and move in certain formations, which apparently is hella boring for players. And I remember, on several occasions, Eden Hazard, after, Conte left, speaking about publicly how he hated that. But, he was excellent under Conte. We won the Premier League and haven't ever since, so you can't really criticise it. But apparently, all the work's been with the ball, or the vast, vast majority in pre-season, which is, very... I don't want to bring up Guardiola. Like I said before, in the Maresca interview, he deliberately didn't name him out of all the coaches he's worked with. I think he's trying to escape that diet Pep, get out of the shadow, which, there's no shame being in the shadow for a bit, I think. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, so lots of work with the ball, and, we don't know what players are going to work in what positions yet. So I built a lineup. I'm going to pull up in just a second. Like I said, to reiterate, this is the in formation. So Chelsea will start as a 4-3-3 under Enzo Maresca. But in possession, which will be the majority of the time on the pitch in the Premier League, we will have over 50% possession on average across the season. I'll put the farm on that now. We will be in the inverted phase where the fullback is in the midfield, and therefore it's kind of a back three. Now, apparently, it also has been reiterated, explained on certain, I can't remember where I heard it. It might have been a podcast talking about Leicester. But even out of possession sometimes, they keep the free back in certain phases. So I'm not going to pretend to know loads about tactics. I used to be a bit of a nerd with that, but certainly not these days. But that is the idea, man. So let me just quickly source this image. I should have prepared this prior to going live, or recording, should I say, but here we are. So I'm just going to find it now. Here we go. Lineup builder I've done this on. Boom! Hey? Let's move my camera over. I need to move over. There we go. This is like a fish angle lens. I look like I'm being sucked into the void. So yeah, there you go. It's like I said, this the back to front kind of. So Nico Jackson's it should be the other way around, the other lineup builders. But I've gone with what I think will happen. So it's really important here that I say this isn't what I necessarily want. So this is in possession. and this is what could be what we see. Now, in goal, it's Rob Sanchez. I am a little bit worried about this. I think many of you are. Rob Sanchez. It looks like, as things stand, Kepa's training with the development team, and that's a whole story in itself, but I think he knows. That's what happens. Lukaku did as well when he came back for pre-season and knew he wasn't going to be in the side. They just don't train with the first team to avoid distraction. I don't take massive issue. As long as everyone's being nice to each other and it's amicable, and everyone should understand the arrangement. If they don't want to be at Chelsea, cool, shake hands and go and train with the development team while we try and get you a move. So Sanchez looks like he's going to be trusted a little bit more than Petrovic for the short passing, which does worry me, and I would personally, as things stand, like a new goalkeeper, but I'm totally open to Rob Sanchez doing well. So, the conventional back four, I think, as things stand, Cucurella will start at left back over Chile, and over even Renato Vega, if he is to stay with the first team, the signing that's yet to be announced. So Marc Cucurella is the inverting left back. And to complete the back four, I see the left footer, Levi Colwill, starting at left centre back. Tosin, I see starting over the likes of Wesley Fofana, who I think will eventually take that role because he's probably the best. But of course, he's come off a long-term injury. There is a massive shout for Trevoh Chalobah, who was playing incredibly well at the end of last season. He might be sold. We don't know what's going on there. And he might be this player. But because Tosin's so tall, we clearly value height. Tosin is a good Premier League operator. He's a leader. He's already demonstrating that in pre-season, the way he's talking to people. I think he's actually going to be a really good player to just slam dunk into that first team lineup. So I think Tosin will partner Colwill, and ultimately he'll be that guy in the middle. Now, this is possibly the toughest one for me. So Malo Gusto is probably the fit, informed right back to start. And, even if Reece James is good to go, and Reece James should eventually play this role, because it sort of tucks in. I mean, Reece James is the best profile for this role, and he's, there's an argument for our best player when in form. Obviously, he's not been playing that much, and he's got 3 matches banned at the beginning of the season. So I've put Gusto there because I like Gusto and I prefer him as a right back. But I nearly put Disasi there because Disasi has played right back for Pochettino. And in this particular system, when the left back inverts to make that box, the right back tucks in a bit and defends a bit more. And for me, a hybrid right back, right centre back defending player is more suited to an Axel Disasi than a dynamic flying up and down the wing Malo Gusto. So I reluctantly put Gusto in because I worry about the profile, but I just feel that he's so good. And if there's a moment where Tosin moves over, Colwill moves over and makes that sort of like 2-2-2-2 or 2 whatever, you know what I mean? 3 banks of 2. And Gusto has moments where he can overload and fly forward and get back. Then yeah, Gusto. But we'll see what happens there. In fact, now there's 3 of them. Yeah, I've put Gusto in. So this is really interesting. The least explanation, of course, is Marc Cucurella. He did this for Pochettino at the end of last season. He inverted into the midfield. He knows how to do it for Chelsea. I know he's not really doing that for Spain in the Euros, but he's performing well for the Euros. I feel like in terms of a guy who's played in the Premier League for years now, and knows that role, I think, and he's 25, 26 in his prime. I think Cucurella is placed to lose as that inverting fullback. Now, of course, Enzo Fernandez playing deeper for Argentina in the Copa America of late. He's been earmarked for a deeper playmaking role in the Enzo Maresca system. So not Moises Caicedo playing deep, Enzo Fernandez playing deep, playing with the game in front of him, which suits him a lot better as a technician and as a passing footballer. So this is what we can expect here, and he won't be like, obviously he'll have 3 defenders behind him, he'll have a proper defensive player in Cucurella next to him to protect him, so he can really just do the good stuff in terms of creativity and progression. And that's, as we think, will start. Now, you can't drop the Premier League's record signing in Moises Caicedo. So he is in the front of the box midfield here. Now, a lot of people speculated Caicedo will play further forward. And this is kind of as an advanced 8, which is a very offensive role, but Caicedo can play forwards. He can hit the odd goal, really, massive, powerful goal. But having Caicedo there you can basically ensure you get high turnovers on the regs, right? That's what you want. This is what you can expect. Now, obviously, a Conor Gallagher could play there really well. Dewsbury Hall could play over on that side. You could put loads of players there, right? Carney, Chukwuemeka. But this is just what I'm speculating for the moment, that maybe it'll be pressure on the Chelsea manager to get these players in. This is just what I could see happening for the moment, getting the quality on the pitch. If you're not going to necessarily rely on, a lot of goal scoring from that role, I mean, Caicedo might be a goal scorer waiting to be born, who knows. But in terms of controlling the game, winning the ball back very quickly, high up, being able to pass and dribble and being a robust player, Caicedo is, of course, very good at that. Now, I do expect Kiernan Dewsbury Hall to start. Now, he played as that sort of right offensive number 8, and he occupied that area there. Lots of people have speculated that this is the role for Cole Palmer, and that may be correct. And maybe Dewsbury Hall, benches Caicedo. I don't know. It seems wild, doesn't it? But yeah, for the moment, and for the fact how Kiernan Dewsbury Hall knows how the manager wants to play, I think he will be utilised at the beginning of Enzo Maresca's reign to sort of get the football going quickly. So I've put him there, and I looked at his heat map, Dewsbury Hall, and that is the positions he takes up. So obviously, you don't drop the star boy Cole Palmer, and Cole Palmer plays at right wing, which he is familiar with. Maybe he can swap with Dewsbury Hall in game. They can switch locations. I'm sure Cole Palmer will be afforded the opportunity to drift in midfield. I'm sure that will be the case. But Cole Palmer on the pitch playing right wing. And if we remember, Cole has said recently in an interview that it was Enzo Maresca in the Man City Academy that moved him to right wing from number 10. So maybe he will do this same here and keep him at the right side, and Cole Palmer starts on the right. Now, moving over to the left wing, I do think this is Raheem Sterling's chance. He's 29 years old. He's played in the Man City setup of football for a long time, was very successful. Personally, I think this is the kind of football that will serve him. Obviously, if it doesn't happen for Sterling here, we're going to have to just force him out in the summer. But this is a great opportunity for Sterling to maybe get in it. If he becomes a starter for Maresca's Chelsea, make Chelsea good again, not great but good, then Sterling will be thinking, right, this is my chance to get back into the England squad, and see what happens there. But I do think he will start there. And then up top, Nico Jackson's position to lose. Jackson's the former Chelsea striker, he's always available, but who knows? It could be Nkunku. It made me very uncomfortable making a starting lineup here. And bearing in mind, let me reiterate, this is not what I want. This is what I think will happen. But yeah, I'm still very uncomfortable dropping who isn't our most elite and Galactico attacker in Nkunku, maybe alongside Palmer now after that season he just had. But I'm going to say Jackson to start with. But who knows? Maybe Jackson will become that left winger if Sterling can't do it, and Nkunku starts down the middle. I mean, that would be an elite lineup. So yes, like I said, to reiterate, it is a in possession formation there, and that's what I think will happen. It's very frustrating, but remember, guys, no matter what happens, there's gonna be people unhappy with the lineup, and that's just football. It's just where we're at. It's just how things are, which is totally fine. Because there's also now 5 subs for the last God knows how long, and you will get to see your favourites come on and play, and then have the chance to displace the guys who are already starting and stuff like that. So yeah, what do you think? Do you agree? What do you think will change? Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on the situation. Cool. All right then, and that's it from me. So thank you for supporting the content as always, liking and subscribing. It's really annoying over my face now. It was funny at first, so let's just move that. I reckon in the middle, so it still gets your attention, but it's not annoying. Alright, hope to see you guys back here soon. Peace.